The inspiration behind the book, Did You Know, is simply the fact that I have been accumulating stories my entire life. From the time I was a small boy, I was taught to read very early. I read and I read and I read and I listened. So I have the full memory of Barbados in my head and everything that I've read about Barbados. So I'm really a storyteller. And as I always say, history, think of the word history is his story. Or to be gender fair, her story as well. And it's how people interpret the past, and there's so much of our rich history in Barbados that I have a passion for sharing it. I have a huge library. I've read everything I can about Barbados, and I have stories, never-ending stories. So this has been for me a very satisfying interlude in my life, telling the stories on Did You Know, which I call the Young People's Radio Capital Media HD at the invitation of Vic Fernandes. So I follow Vic on a Monday, Wednesday and a Friday, and I tell all these lovely stories. And then I worked with Sally Miller of Miller Publishing to produce the book, because someone said, why not a book? And of course, I love producing books. I've produced lots of them. So it was tremendous fun to work with Sally, and Sally pulled out all the gorgeous photographs to illustrate so many things that are in the book. So the book is Did You Know? People, Places and Untold Stories of Barbados, of which there are many stories that many Bajans have simply never heard a word about, and places that many Bajans have never even visited. So it's 166 stories. Does that number ring a bell? A story for every square mile of Barbados. And by the time we do volume 2, and perhaps we'll get to 365, there'll be a story for every day. So it's been tremendous fun. And my mission is share the information, share the stories, share the passion, share the heritage of Barbados. And that leads me to say that my next big project with Dr. Kerry Hall, Director Sherwood McCaskey of CTV, will be a wonderful film series called The Cultural Heritage of Barbados. So we've had the stories on the radio, you've got the stories in book form, and we will be talking over the next few months with a series of half-hour films called The Cultural Heritage of Barbados, with our beautiful natural heritage, our historic built heritage, and the intangible heritage of how we live and work and have our being, how we sing, how we dance, the food we drink, and the drinks we drink. So all of that will be in there, the cultural heritage of Barbados. So this is, in a sense, a precursor to that, a prologue.
Without giving too much away, can you tell us maybe the themes of at least one of the stories, the humor?
Some of the stories?
Yeah.
Oh yes, I put as much humor into my stories as I can. I also try to be provocative sometimes, and I hope to elicit responses that people may like the provocation. I have to make sure I don't say anything that could lead to a libel suit, but I like to put humor in, and I like to talk about people that are, you know, important in our history, but perhaps today's young people have never heard of. And young people even younger than you, meet me in the street and say, I heard you today, I liked that story. So I tend to finish off with something, either something dramatic or something humorous in the stories.
Given that you documented these stories, how important was it for Barbadian history to be told in such a way? Because, you know, there's always been a saying that
yes,
we don't write enough and we don't document enough.
Yes.
So how important is that?
Well, it's quite true. We don't write enough, we don't document enough. And a few years ago, somebody complained that Barbadians were not writing memoirs and autobiography to convey to our future generations the lives that we had had. And that led me to write my own autobiography, which is also currently on sale. That's hot off the press too, down at Cloisters. But I think it's important to get the information shared, to share the information. So once you do not say things that are unpleasant, things that may lead to you getting slapped in the face, then I think it's important to share the information.